Hello, everybody. I would like to introduce you to my friend Michael Roberts.
Hello.
Now, Michael is the guy who, when you get to see the course that we put online, he's the guy who's actually done all the videos for that. And you'll see him come up from time to time on social media as the good-looking fella who tells you how to work a camera.
Yeah, that's me.
Michael, good afternoon.
Hello. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. I was just briefly telling everybody about you, but I told Michael when I got here that you have a van.
A camper van. Yes.
And
I manifested that camper van.
Ah.
Is that what you want me to say?
No, I was wanting you to tell me it was Jurgen. But
Jurgen.
You manifested Jurgen.
Manifested him, yeah.
Tell me about how you did it.
It's crazy, really. I remember I was working in Starbucks before I went full-time self-employed because I had my business on the side. And I remember I'd taken a photo of a blue T5 Volkswagen, so like a newer Volkswagen. And it was metallic blue. Didn't think much of it. Forgot about it completely. And one day, I'd spent 8 years looking at vans. And one day, it was a Sunday afternoon, around 3-4 o'clock. I'd got back from being in Wales, hiking in my car. And I was just down, depressed, just recently come out of a toxic relationship. And I was just looking at vans, and my mum had seen one on her phone, and she said, "Oh, look, a Volkswagen camper van." And I was just looking, and then I thought I'd spend a few hours just scrolling and looking. And then I saw that van. And I don't know what it was, but there was a number on there. It had like 12 hours left to go. So I phoned the number. And you can't put numbers on eBay anymore. It has to go through eBay now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I phoned the number, I spoke to the guy and said, "Can I come and buy it tomorrow?" He went, "Well, I've got someone that's interested." I said, "I'll give you the money right now. I'd never met this guy. I'll give you the money right now." He said, "Right, come tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So I phoned up a friend, Kev, who was one of my actors from my Scariest Places days. I phoned him and said, "If I drive up to Carnarvon, would you drive my car back if I buy a van?" He went, "Yeah, that's fine." So we got in the car, met me at my house. We drove all the way to Carnarvon, looked at the van, walked around it, went, "Yeah, I'll give you the money." He said, "Do you not want to drive it?" I went, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll drive it, yeah." Get in the car and drive it. So I drove it, went, "Yeah, no, I'll have it." I said, "What's your bank details?" I didn't even talk him down. He asked for 4,000. No, I think he wanted, it was up for 4,200, but he wanted 4,500. I said, "Look, I've got 4,200, take it or leave it. I'm right here. We've got the money to put in your bank right now." So he said, "Do you not want to look at the engine?" So he popped the bonnet. And I went, "Yep, engine."
It's got an engine, that'd do for me.
No idea.
4 wheels,
Yeah.
engine, that's all.
So I gave him the money, drove it back. And then a couple of weeks later, I was sorting out my office. I'd looked at an old vision board that I had, and that picture was on there.
Wow.
So that picture was on there, and I noticed that the van was blue. Whether subconsciously I'd seen a blue van and went, "Yep, that's my van," but I don't know what it is.
Does it matter?
No. But after 8 years of looking, I've never been so certain of any purchase in my life, but that was like, no, I want it. I don't care how much. Probably spent £1,000 more than I should, but I didn't care.
Since then, how's the van been?
Perfect. I mean, it's had its moments because I've put it in the hands of the wrong people that have said they can fix it and they can't, or they've done more damage than they have fixing it. But for me, it's a very strange relationship because many people who are faced with a total engine rebuild, they go, "Write it off, let's get another van." I don't care how much I put into it. I'll spend whatever money it needs. If they say it's going to cost £5 for something, I go, "Yeah, okay." And then I just kind of figure out how I'm going to get the money. And I always seem to find the money. Or whenever I need the money, it always seems to be there.
You are the absolute epitome of manifestation.
Yeah.
Because that's what they say you should do.
But I struggle with manifestation because, like, we had a conversation when you turned up, you said, "How are you?" I went, "Oh, I'm not great. I'm very negative at the moment." I feel like everyone hates me. I feel like I'm a terrible filmmaker. I feel like, 13 years down the line, I should be making better videos. And I put a lot of stress on myself. And I admitted this to my girlfriend last night. I said, I just feel like the world hates me. I feel like I'm rubbish. I feel like a con artist. And she's like, you got to stop being so hard on yourself. But that negativity, I woke up this morning, I'd got paid from one of my clients, and you'd think, wow, I've got money back in the bank now. I should be a bit more happy. But I'm like, no, got to pay bills now. Got to pay this person, got to pay that person. And then as you see the money dwindling, and my girlfriend said, but that's life.
That's what you do.
She said, that's life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I guess. But I'm just in this spiral.
Somebody said exactly the same thing to me earlier on today, where I said, but I'm running out of money. And he said, and? I said, yeah, but it's running away with me. He said, and? Basically, as he pointed out, you earn money to spend it. You don't earn money to keep it.
Yeah, but I'd like to keep it for a
Well,
bit.
you'd like to
at least a day.
Have it for a day or two. Yeah, it'd been quite nice.
There have been times I've said to people, I'll pay tomorrow. I just would like it to sit in the bank for a day.
But the point is, that things go around, don't they? And it's all a cycle, and it's all flowing. And the whole thing about this universal energy thing that everybody talks about is the fact that it's flowing, and that's the way it works. You mentioned something a minute ago. You said the stuff you were doing with a thing you were doing, a spiritual thing you were doing.
Oh yeah, I'm doing a paranormal show which does not delve into night vision, proving ghosts. It's just a show that talks about ghost stories.
Why?
Just because I feel like, well, I like the paranormal. I like going to old buildings. I like meeting people. And I think for me, it's more the fact that I get to travel in my camper van, get to meet people, but also create. With the work that I do, a lot of the time it's snipping things, cutting things, cleaning things. It's not actually creatively fueling me. Okay,
I get that, but why paranormal? What is it? Is it because they'd say that with paranormal, it's a matter of a memory that is held by that building or by that whatever it may be. Other people say, well, this is spirit, and it's dead people who have come back and can't get away from that particular place. What's your view on that?
Well, there's two types of ghosts, isn't there? There's active ghosts and
passive ghosts.
No, like your sandstone theory.
Okay, I mean you've got your you mean your memories. That in my opinion,
yeah,
it's you've got memories. The universe, the energy, is a memory energy. Or you've got what we just said, active ghosts.
An active ghost. I don't think you'll ever prove that ghosts exist. Well, you definitely won't be able to prove it on a television basis.
No.
Especially in the world of AI, it's completely out of the water now. Those days of walking around in the dark, peeving ghosts are just... And also, television's a very demanding thing. If you don't get the results, then you have to think outside the box.
You worked with Derek Accord, didn't you?
I did, yes, very briefly. I used to play a spoof character called Miracle Aura, and Derek was very kind to do a video with me where Derek meets Merrick. And then that kind of span off into a spoof of Most Haunted called Scariest Places, where we travelled up and down the country filming a spoof of Most Haunted. We used real haunted locations for the authenticity of what we were trying to portray. We didn't just want to make a comedy spoof about ghosts. We wanted to actually be in the environment where it felt real, but then the humour came out naturally rather than writing the humour.
This is basically what you want to do again, but in a more serious vein.
See, when I was young, I used to watch all these ghost programs. I used to race home on a Thursday to watch Living TV, and you'd have 3 or 4 different ghost programs on all in one night. And I grew up watching ghost stories, and I think, as a filmmaker, storytelling is one of the biggest things that I love. Okay. And so I just want to tell ghost stories, because I don't think it's necessarily about proving that ghosts exist. I think proving ghosts exist is a very personal thing. You either personally go through that to believe. I don't think it's something you can film and share with the world.
I tend to agree with you there. I must say, I met Derek Acorah a couple of times, and I think that you're talking about the TV and the way they do things, and the way things have to be done for audiences to get viewers. And I think poor Derek got treated badly.
Yeah.
Because he was actually, I knew him quite well, and he was, a friend of mine knew him very well, and I got to meet Derek like that. But he always said that Derek was a good medium.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. And I completely believed in
no doubt about it.
In his experience and knowledge of the paranormal. But this is the problem you have with television. You constantly need results in order to keep ratings up, and if you don't get the ratings, you don't have a show, and if you don't have a show, you don't have a platform.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I don't want to do night vision. I mean, I love walking, through old buildings in the dark with a night vision camera and a torch. I love that. But I just think in today's world, it's completely, there's no way now with the age of AI that anything can be proven. As a filmmaker, I know how easy it is to manipulate and make something out to be what it's not.
That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I want it to be a personal experience.
Yeah.
And I want people to actually get that as a personal experience. Tell me, we were talking before, a little earlier on, you were saying about different experiences you've had spiritually, or you're going to call them ghosts, I'm going to call them spirits, but it doesn't really matter. People who are dead.
Okay.
You've had some experiences with that.
Yeah, so going back to my Scariest Places days, I remember, because we wanted to film in real haunted locations, this was a time when I wasn't protecting myself, or when I was opening up but not closing down.
Define that, please. The only reason I'm asking you to define it is
fine.
Lots of people...
My understanding is a big white light coming out of the top of your head, protecting yourself, and then the roots of your body going into the ground to ground yourself, to protect yourself, and to have a shield around you. And then obviously when you finish a paranormal investigation, you reverse that, and you then leave whatever's there. I had glasses thrown the night before filming, because we would normally go down to locations the night before, get very drunk, and then film the next day. So we were at the Tudor House Inn in Warwick, filming the second to last episode of Scariest Places. And we were in the Tudor House Inn, and it's quite well-known location because it's just outside Warwick. It's a big Tudor House pub, hotel, and it's used quite a lot on TV. It's used in that Hathaway and can't remember what.
Don't ask me, I don't know.
It's a detective show on BBC or ITV. So it's quite a well-known location for film. So quite a lot of people know it. But I remember one night we'd been upstairs drinking in the bedrooms, all me and the cast and the crew, and we were all having a jolly good night. I had to go down at about 1 in the morning to get to the car to get my contact lenses because they were still in. So 3 of us, I said, does anyone want to come down, get a bit of fresh air? I thought, I'm not going down on my own, just in case. But it didn't feel haunted. And then we walked into the main room and I said, it's not haunted, this. And then all of a sudden, you just felt a weight. You just felt heavy. You felt like 1,000 eyes looking at you, and the atmosphere you could feel. And then I'd gone to the car, come back in, and the atmosphere was still like that. And then as we were walking back up the stairs, this glass, didn't see the glass, but this glass, you could hear it flying through the air and then smashing. And then the next morning, I said to the bar lady, I said, was there a glass anywhere that you had to clean up? And she went, no, there was no glass found. It was the sound of glass.
But you'd heard it and you heard the break.
4 of us heard it. Wasn't just me. 4 of us heard it, looked at each other and ran up the stairs and then come down again all night.
But that is the proof.
Yeah, but I can't prove that. That's just my own personal experience.
There were three other people there who, if they were sat in here, would be saying the same story.
Can you rule out the fact that your minds are all working together? This is the thing. You can't just always say it's paranormal. Although I would probably say it's paranormal. You've still got to, before you say that is paranormal, you've still got to say, right, if four of us heard this, is there any kind of thing where our brains are linking, or energy? Because energy is energy. Is energy linking to create a sound? Or do you know what I mean? You have to kind of... And
Don't you just love a skeptic?
I'm not. I am 100% believe.
No, I love it.
But I think it's very silly to just assume and go, it's a ghost. I think you have to do a bit of explanation, have to do a bit of digging in your own brain to go, right, what was that? What did you hear? What did you
Actually,
hear?
this is where the whole thing all mixes up together, because quantum physics, the way our minds work, looking at how we connect with each other, we don't know to what extent our subconscious links with somebody else's subconscious. We have no idea about any of that. So the whole lot, for me, works together. How you want to define it and what do you want to make of it is an entire personal thing.
Well,
which is why I'm doing these interviews.
there was another time we were filming at Derby Jail in Derby, funnily enough.
No, really?
And it was Richard Felix's museum. I'd been there loads and loads of times, but the first time that we went, we were filming an episode of Scariest Places. And every time I tell this story, I get a pain in my back, and I can feel it now. But again, is it the brain? Is it not? I don't know. But Anyway, we were filming. It must have been about 10 o'clock at night. We'd been there all day. We'd been filming in the day. Got to about 10 o'clock at night, and there was a jailer called Blythe. And I actually, to this day, don't like mentioning his name. But there was a spirit there, and obviously we're there to film a paranormal spoof, not a paranormal show. Two very different things. And from my point of view, I don't want to be hearing ghosts knocking and banging, and I actually don't want paranormal activity. Yeah? So we were filming, and there was this tap. So Derby Jail has like a stone floor. We're in the cellar. There is nothing underneath the cellar. It's ground. It's earth. Yeah.
That's the bottom.
There was knocking, and you could ask it yes or no questions. Tap once for yes, twice for no. But the floor, you could put your hand on the floor, you could feel it on the other side. So I was like, can you stop it? We're trying to film. And it got louder and louder. And actually, if you watch the episode, you'll actually hear knocking in certain scenes. It frustrated me. So it got to about 12 o'clock at night, and I said, I just had a go with it. I had no respect, and I just shouted at it and went, would you bloody stop? Honest to God. And that was it. Atmosphere again, completely changed. And we drove home that night because it was a horrible atmosphere. We're talking about a jail that would have had all types of criminals, debtors, highwaymen, all those types of people. So they weren't nice spirits anyway. So the energy was very nasty, to the point where something could have been thrown at us. Anyway, we're panicking. This knocking's going on. So we pack up, we leave. We're supposed to be staying the night. We pack up, we leave, get back to Ellesmere Port at about 3 in the morning. And I drop everyone off at the train station. And next minute, we're sitting there, turn the engine off. There's tapping underneath the car on the exhaust. And I'm like, it's followed us. And everyone's like, good luck, mate. See you tomorrow. Bye. And for about 3 months, it followed me. I was in Starbucks. I was on an early shift. Customers were like, what's that knocking? And when people are not even thinking, oh, there's a ghost knocking or a spirit knocking, when somebody who is not even thinking paranormal, just a normal everyday customer coming in for their coffee at 6 in the morning, can hear banging on the floor, and they're like, what's that knocking? And it's getting louder. I remember the day before I went back to Derby, to Vernon Gate, to have 2 mediums close me down and close all my
whatever's down, yeah.
Me windows,
yeah,
me chakras, and it felt like every time I woke up, I felt something in my back. I can feel it now. Every time I tell this story, I can feel it. For 6 months, I'd have 8 hours sleep, and I'd wake up knackered. I'd be absolutely tired. I'd be absolutely drained, and I'd be sluggish all day. The tapping got that bad that I was at the traffic lights, and I screamed at it. I remember the person next to me looking at me going, what the hell is up with him? And then I went down, I saw a good medium friend, Viv Powell, who lives in Nottingham, and she shut me chakras down, And since then, I've never heard, felt anything paranormal since, ever. Apart from when I tell that story, could be subconscious, could actually be linked. But she said to me it was an energy that had never lived. It was a floating energy that had never had a human life.
That's very interesting, actually, that you say that.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I'm assuming it's just energy that never lived.
Oh, they talk about babies that don't make it.
Okay, yeah. So they kind of slightly get into a life, but then they don't
fully make it.
Right.
And if they are,
It's like a premature energy.
yeah.
Right.
But if they are loved and cared for, they will. I'll use the word attach.
Well, that's what it was classed as,
but
an attachment.
But I was talking to a lady last night who, in actual fact, had lost a child, one of twins, and that child had never actually made it into this world, but had always remained with her because the child was loved. But I can imagine that if that child, and I'm going to open up a whole can of worms here, I know I am, because somebody's going to say something about it. But I would imagine that if that child were not loved, then, yeah, it could become a floating energy.
But I remember being shut down, and I remember that energy ripping out of my spine.
Wow.
Like a Ghostbusters film, when they go like that,
Yeah.
It was a shudder. It was something being ripped out within the spinal column.
Wow.
And I'll never forget that feeling. Very bizarre, but I genuinely thought I was going mad. It got to a point where I felt like I didn't trust my own brain.
What I would like to say is that if there's anybody else who's had that kind of experience, I would be very pleased to hear from them, because that's interesting.
Yeah, like I look back and I think, what a crazy time. When I look back at my life so far, you forget about all these moments, but things like that stick in your mind or your spine. And
On your way to your mind.
it just makes you realise how lucky you are to experience these things.
Actually, that's interesting you say that, because a lot of people would go, how unlucky you are to experience these things.
It's because you all in life, you always want to kind of know what's behind the curtain.
But it makes you realise that there are more forces at work on heaven and earth than we give credit for.
Well, I think that's why children see ghosts more. That's why they have friends, invisible friends, because they're not kind of then formatted by society.
No.
And that's why you have, when some people say, well, how can you be a medium and how come I haven't got the gift? I think every single person on this planet has the gift, but so many people have suppressed that way of thinking.
Well, they're scared of it.
And I think I've
Or they've
probably
suppressed
it. I've probably suppressed it because I've tried to open up and feel like I can't anymore when I probably can. I was getting the white projector flash here when I went to bed. I was getting things coming through a door, and I could never make out a face, but I could see a white door opening and someone trying to walk through.
You're more fascinating than I thought you were going to be. Actually, this is interesting.
Yeah, I googled it all before we came on.
Oh, did it? Oh, good. Mr. Google's a good person to talk to.
But no, it was funny because I used to do a lot of urban exploring before I did all the paranormal. So I'd walk around Denby Asylum, Poole Park Asylum.
You've gone Denby Asylum?
Yeah, loads of times. Probably die when I'm 60 because of all the asbestos, but hey ho, live your life. Went down to Talgarth Asylum.
Have you done Newsham Park in Liverpool?
Yeah, done Newsham Park. Yeah, and funnily enough, I remember I was on a ghost hunt, and we were up in the Naughty Boys corridor, and
They talk about that a lot.
we were filming, and no word of a lie, as you look down the corridor, there's doors either side in the annex. There was one door that was closed, but you could see a very faint, purpley white light, as if something like at a poltergeist where there's a bright light on the other side of the door and the frame's lighting up. But when I've ever seen anything, it's always been so faint that you kind of question and go, am I seeing this? And everyone's like, yeah, I can see that too. I'm like, yeah, but it's so faint. You can never truly make it out. And a lot of the times when you're on investigations, you see things in the corner of your eye.
Yeah,
Blah, blah, blah.
well, that's standard.
Yeah.
Seeing things out the corner of your eye because you're not actually focusing. As soon as you start to concentrate on something,
Yeah.
you're expecting a certain something to happen, and it doesn't because you've shut it off.
Yeah. But yeah, I used to have things come into the... When I didn't protect myself, I would literally go out investigating abandoned buildings, come back at 2 in the morning, and I would literally have things just walk through my bedroom door. You wouldn't see it. You'd just feel something had walked in. And I got to the point where I was like, I'm tired, not tonight. And it's weird. The more paranormal stuff you do, the more you get more attuned to it. And you're like, well, I wouldn't run away. I'd be like, I want to know where this is. Another location that I'd been to was the Block, which was down near the breweries in Burton-on-Trent.
Yeah.
This old building turned into an airsoft building in the end, and they were redeveloping all the land around. I think there'd been loads of like industrial buildings around the site. We all know that ale was made in Burton-on-Trent. It's knocked down now, they built houses on it. But I remember going to, it was a big massive factory. It had like 3 floors with one of those corridor bridges that went into another building.
Oh yeah.
Then it opened up into a warehouse with 3 floors. Then it went into a separate built-on section. And again, it was an airsoft building. But, you know, you're walking around this old abandoned brewery that, I tell you what, I felt things there that I've never felt before.
Actually, just on that, 2 things. Newsham Park, going back to that one.
Yeah.
Just inside the main entrance, there's a spiral staircase.
Yes, there is, yeah.
I stood at the bottom of that, not just me, my ex-wife, 2 children, stood at the bottom of that looking up, and we could all see the same children at the top, looking down at us.
Like a Beatles cover.
A bit like it. Not quite like that, but close. My daughter also, there's a outside, there's a dormitory across the courtyard, and she was
Round the back. Yeah.
and she was standing by the doors, and we said, "Come on, Erin, we're going now." And she said, "Just a minute, I'm just talking to this little boy. He won't bring his ball to me."
It's funny you said that. Someone else has mentioned a boy with a ball.
That little boy with the ball,
Yeah.
there's a stone staircase, and he was sat at the bottom of the stone staircase, and they've been playing football at the top, and he'd fallen down the stairs and broken his neck.
Right.
And so
Someone's told me that story.
it's well known. It's a well-known story. Now that kind of thing, that doesn't happen out of nowhere. It doesn't come from nothing. And when other people have seen it as well and corroborated what you're saying.
Yeah, I am a believer. I just don't have any physical evidence myself apart from my own experiences that I can't prove.
Of course.
And that, I think that's what people need to realise, and that's why I want to do a show that is based just around the stories, because we all love the stories.
I am going to look forward to this show.
You're going to help me do it.
I'm going to look forward to helping you do this show. Now that would really, really interest me, and I'm sure it'd interest a lot of other people. Michael, thank you very much
pleasure.
for this, and thank you very much for telling us the stories. And please keep us all up to date with what's happening.
Will do.
With these ghost stories, and keep us up to date with what's going to happen next.
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And that's John Durrant from Spiritual Connection. Thank you very much, Michael Roberts from Take the Cake Productions. And look forward to talking to you again.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.